Top 3 questions I get asked on this channel. What does the Amazon Relay load board look like? How do I book loads? And when I book those loads, how do I stay so local? These are the relay rates for Wednesday, May 29th.
Let's get into those SoCal relay rates.
All right, let's get into it. As always, going to put chapters in it. Go ahead and feel free to skip ahead to your section. Going to look at recommended up front, then 53. We'll check in on 26, see what kind of blocks are out there, look at spot capacity, and then the pick city this week was Russ Sims won last time. He wanted to take a look at Paris, California. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's get in here to the load board. Coming to you from the Torrey Pines glider port today. Recommended loads. So, I mean, you can already see here, recommended loads based on your previous bookings. They're already recommending stuff for me like up in like Jurupa Valley, Victorville, Ontario. Not looking very good as far as like San Diego market goes. I mean, here's $14.68 a mile Jurupa Valley to Bloomington. But, yeah, high rate, but it's going to take 8 hours and 14 minutes. That's definitely something to pay attention to. I mean, that's going to be the bulk of your day right there to make $200. Another Jurupa Valley, Victorville to Denver, Colorado, kind of a big trip. One pick, one stop. I like that. $2.21 a mile. Redlands to Tracy. Are there any San Diego ones on here at all? I mean, this one here, this ONT to ONT, that's a block. That's a 2-day block. We'll get into those in a minute. But the fact that they're not recommending anything in San Diego is kind of indicative of how it has been lately. It has not been great lately. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I mean, all these are kind of out of my area, too far to deadhead to do any of these. So not really looking good on recommended. Let's look at San Diego 53. I have a load board for that, OTI power only. First thing I like to do, 37 loads on the board. That's okay. I mean, historically, 75 has been about the average, so we're probably like half of that. Let's sort this by price per distance highest and just take a look here, see what kind of loads we're talking about. HSD2 ending at DSD1, $230. What do they got you going in the middle? They got you picking up at HSD2 an empty trailer. That little circle not filled in is an empty trailer, taking that over to San 5. And then from San 5, heading up to DSD1 with a loaded trailer. DSD5 to Moreno Valley, 316 payout, 472, gonna take almost 5 hours. Here's a Poway to San Diego. I mean, like 5 hours for $200 is, I mean, that's, you got to pay attention to the time on these two. The rate seems great, $433 a mile, but keep in mind, they say it's going to take 5 hours and 46 minutes. That's tonight at 11 o'clock. They've got you going from Poway to San 3, and then from San 3 over to San 5, taking a container. So, great rate. It kind of takes a lot of time, though. Here's a little one pick, one stop. The thing I've noticed about like this in the last few months, they used to, the minimum load was always $200. Now they're coming down to like 180, 160, that type of stuff. So, I mean, the fact that this is 185, that's typically what they used to pay to go from like San 3 to San 5. So, I mean, this load a few months ago would have been, a one-way would have been like 350 minimum, probably closer to like 450. But today they're paying 185 for it. Here's HSD2 going up to Temecula, 304 payout, going to take 3 hours and 29 minutes of your time. Bakersfield, 280 miles, $947. DSD1 to Paris, one pick, one stop, $214. 213 for the same, 212. Here's one HSD2 going up to Oxnard, one pick. Total of 4 stops, starting at HSD2, going to LGB7, LGB7 over to KLAX, and then KLAX up to Oxnard, OXR1. So, I mean, some decent ones on here. Vista to Los Angeles. I mean, yeah, mid to high $2 a mile all over San Diego. You have to pay attention to the times on these. Let's take a look at 26 foot. Let's see if they're doing any better. SD box truck, 69 loads on the board. Let's sort that by price per distance highest. So San Diego starting at San 5, going to what I presume is 2 post office locations, starting in Otay, going to San Diego, ending up in San Diego. That is going to be 3 total stops, $199 payout. Here's a San Diego. That's also, keep in mind, that's not till Saturday, June 1st. Here's one Friday, tomorrow night at midnight, or is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday today. That's 2 days away. San Diego ending in San Diego, $4.98 a mile, but 3 stops. San Diego ending in ℙ𝕖𝕣𝕣𝕚, $4.93. You can see these payouts. I mean, let's just see this one. San 5 goes to Chula Vista and then out to ℙ𝕖𝕣𝕣𝕚. All around $200, $200. When I see all the prices going like about the same on everything, that's kind of like in Amazon's favor. Not that they can't have stuff in their favor, but you know, you can tell when Amazon's organized, when they start, you know, putting these multi-trip bundles and everything like that together. They're organized. What I like to do is kind of wait till like a crisis happens. So I wait till, you know, they see something that needs moving. Unfortunately, that hasn't been happening a lot lately. But anyway, yeah, these are all about $200. Here's one that's $260. San 5. Let's see. This is Saturday, June 1st, 12:30. Starting at San 5, going to Encinitas, back down to San Diego. So, you know, and the other thing too to keep in mind is, okay, this one starts at 12:30. That other one we looked at up here was Saturday, June 1st at 12:30. I mean, so there's not really a way to make these loads connect, because the start time for the second one starts before the end time of the other one. So it's kind of like you could, in theory, be going out for that one load for that night. That's something else to keep in mind is, you know, lately they've been putting all these start times. Like they'll have 4 or 5 great loads. The problem is they all start within 30 minutes of one another, and there's no way to finish the first one in 30 minutes and then be eligible to take the second one. So something to keep in mind. Let's check in on blocks. Let's see, I'm already in the load board. Save searches, SoCal blocks. I don't do blocks. Some people love them. You know, you look at these, they kind of look all like the same load. Basically what it is you're starting in Ontario. They guarantee you'll end in Ontario. The difference between these two payouts, the 1152, that's a 2-day block, meaning that you're going to be on duty, I believe, for 13 hours, driving for 11 of that, with they give you 11 hours in between to take a 10-hour break. But they guarantee you'll start and stop at the last place. They're going to pay you $11.52 plus compensate you 48.5 cents for every mile they ask you to drive. This other one, this $4.61, this is a 1-day block. This is only 13 hours of on duty, 11 hours of driving. You walk out of that with $4.61 plus 48.5 cents a mile for every mile they ask you to drive. So I've kind of broken down blocks before. I'll put a link to it if you want more information. It was a short. It was like a 60-second or less video if you want more information on blocks. But I mean, basically, these are all, you know, it looks like for 1 day, they're paying about $4.60, $4.52, $4.60, $4.52, $52, $53. And then, yeah, I mean, these are like all around $450. They've got one on there right now that was the 2-day one, which they're paying $11.52 for. So slightly better on the 2-day one than the 1-day one, but that's it on blocks. Let's take a look at that spot capacity. Amazon. Spot capacity. All right, so they sent this one out this morning, 7:28. This kind of hits home the point I was saying earlier about how they're sending all the loads at the same time. They had 3 loads on here that were on spot capacity. One going from HSD2 to San 5 to DUR9 is Temecula. Another one going to HSD2 San 5 to DSD5, that ends in Vista. And then HSD2 to San 5 to DSD8 is Poway. So all 3 of those, spot capacity, great, right? Look at the start times on these. All today, 5:29:24, 5:29:24, 5:29:24, all starting at 12:43. So historically, what I've liked to do is go out and, you know, string together anywhere between 3 to 5 little loads to kind of make a decent night, is proving to be impossible right now, because they're sending all these kind of high priority loads at the same time. So I mean, it's good for Amazon, bad for me. It's just sometimes how the game goes. But yeah, these all 3 of these start at the same time, and then they didn't really put what they're offering on here. They just say accepting offers. So that's where it kind of pays to kind of know, like, okay, well, what have they been sending this for? I can tell you 6 months ago, I mean, this top one, HSD2 to DUR9, that would have been $550 to $600. San Diego to Vista would have probably been $450, and then San Diego to Poway also would have probably been about $450. So there's that. Let's see, 529, they had a HSD2 going to Chino, ending up in Anaheim, 155 miles. Their offer was $654.64. This is your one and only time to negotiate a higher rate with Amazon. Here was one up in Chino from a vendor, so that's going to be a third-party vendor. And those third party places can take a long time. That was going from Chino to Henderson, Nevada. 233 miles. They were offering $700. And then here was Eastvale going up to Seattle, so kind of a big trip. This was a team load. 1,190 miles. Their offer is $2,600. But keep in mind, this one says team driver. You definitely need to have another driver set up with you in order to do that. And let's look at this one. This one came through at 304 ONT8 to a third-party vendor over to Las Vegas. 302 miles. Their offer was $633. So even the spot capacity offers have come down quite a bit. I mean, these used to be, I mean, I hate to say double that, but I feel like the answer on that was probably these offers used to be kind of close to double that. Let's do what we came to do. Russ Sims was my winner last time. He wanted Paris. Let's see here. Let's just be sure. Yeah, Russ Sims wanted Paris, California, and then we'll pick next time's winner. But let's just see here. Let's go to, we'll look at box trucks in Paris first. I will build that off of my San Diego one. And I'm going to go in here and take out San Diego, uncheck that, and type in Paris. If you want your name to appear on this list to be eligible for me to make one of these for your hometown, let me know in the comments. Please treat me like I'm stupid and say, I want to see this in long format. I want to see this in relay rates. If you say Ontario, California, 26 foot, I'm going to think you want a load board, and that's probably what I'm going to make you. But okay, box trucks around Paris, 37 of them within 75 miles of there. That's important to keep in mind. Let's just sort this by price per distance highest. So top money on the board. This is a third-party site. It doesn't have that little classic Amazon acronym. It has SWA_US_ So starting at a third-party site, ending at a Amazon facility, 408 a mile, 183 payout, but it's going to take about 5 hours of your time. This looks like the same load. Let's just see where they have you going on this. So they have you starting at a third-party site in Fontana, going to Rancho Cucamonga, and then over to Eastvale. And when they say it's going to take 4 hours and 50 minutes and there's a third-party site involved, I absolutely believe them on that. I think it will take that long. Here's one, looks like it's going Amazon to Amazon, starting in Hesperia, 342 a mile. Something you don't see all the time. You typically see box trucks going to like either third-party places or post office locations. This one looks like it stays within the Amazon system, starting at AYSZ. I'm assuming that's an Amazon location. That may not be. Going to San Bernardino, or I'm sorry, Hesperia to Rancho Cucamonga to San Bernardino. 3 stops. They say that's going to take 3 hours and 58 minutes for $186. Here's one. This is for sure staying within the Amazon system. One pick, one drop, ONT6 to DSD1. That's down here in my neck of the woods. $3.10 a mile, 207 payout, both Amazon facilities. And then here's another third party. Looks like a duplicate of the one we saw earlier, starting at that SWA place, going to, let's see, starting in Chino, going to Walnut, to Glendora, and then to San Bernardino. And that ends at a ONT5. Let's just see if your thing is big trips and a box truck. Let's just sort this by distance longest and see what they're offering here. Here's one pick, one stop, starting at DCA2, Eastvale, Colorado. I'm in California. Eastvale, California, heading up to San Francisco, 427.8 miles at $1.76 a mile. Will pay you $7.54. Here's another duplicate load, paying slightly less, $1.68 a mile. Payout on that $7.18. Here's a multi-stop trip, $1.52 a mile, going to 5 total stops, starting in Jurupa Valley, going to Bakersfield, going to Los Angeles, Flint Ridge, to Covina. So 5 stops. The problem with things like that, the reason I don't like taking those multi-stop trips, I mean, I'll go up to like 3, sometimes 4 if I'm pushing it. If they start canceling a leg, let's say they don't need you on that trip from, let's say they cancel 4 to 5, your payout's going to decrease. They didn't always do it this way. They do it this way today. They'll come to you and say like, hey, we didn't need you at the last stop. So rather than 474, they've got some wicked math way of calculating it out. And they're like, okay, well, your new payout's 420. And it's just like, it's, I don't feel like it's right, but that's also why I avoid those multi-stop trips. And then let's see, last one on here, Ontario to Temecula, 5 stops, $1.40 a mile, $3.44 total payout. Let's take a look at 53-foot equipment here. Let's take out box trucks. We'll look at all 53-foot equipment, power only and trailer required. So, within 75 miles of Paris, there are 330 loads on the board. That's definitely a good sign, but that's indicative of being up there in like Ontario, San Bernardino, kind of east to LA a little bit. Let's switch this around. Price per distance highest. Top money on the board, $14.68. I know $211 sounds like a great pay, or $14.68 sounds great, but you know, look at the time on this. 8 hours and 14 minutes for $211. Let's see that third-party site in the middle there, I'll bet you. Yep, stop one is ONT1. You're picking up an empty trailer. You're taking it to some third-party site in Fontana where they're going to load it. And then you're bringing that back to, where was that site? Stop 2 is Fontana. You're bringing it back to Bloomington. So this actually, the fact that, yeah, you're starting at an Amazon facility, you're taking it somewhere in Fontana to get loaded, and then you're taking it somewhere in Bloomington to drop it off. When they say that this is going to take 8 hours and 14 minutes, I believe it'll take every minute of that, maybe more. ONT1 to San Bernardino, 29 miles, $384 payout. But look at that. It takes 1 day. 1 day. 1 day to make $384. You're going to ONT1, taking that to a third-party site and somewhere in Ontario, and then dropping that. They're going to put 30,000 pounds in that trailer, and you're going to take that somewhere in San Bernardino to drop it off. When they say it takes a day, when there's 2 third-party sites involved, I believe it's going to take a day. This one seems decent. Corona. How long do they say this is going to take? 7 hours for a one pick, one stop. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, because you're not having to bring an empty trailer there. You're going to Corona and picking up a loaded trailer, and then you're just dropping it off in Bloomington. I would be, if I were up there, I would be tempted to book this one and be confident that this one wouldn't take 7 hours, because it's not like you stopped at an Amazon facility, got an empty trailer, took it to Corona for them to load it, waited for them to load it, and then dropped it off in Bloomington. This is literally just, you're picking up in Corona, dropping off in Bloomington. So they say 7 hours. I find that hard to be. I find that hard to believe. Here's let's see if there's any Amazon sites to Amazon sites. These are all third parties. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, see, even third party on this. BUR7 to Rancho Cucamonga. That's a third party site. Third party sites just eat up a ton of time. Okay, this one's going to Costco, so no, that's outside of the Amazon system. Now we're getting into Vista, because we're looking at 75 miles, and then we're starting to see these San Diego ones again. Let's just see if any of these, okay, here's Amazon to Amazon, $4.29 a mile. They say it's going to take 2 hours and 8 minutes. I believe it'll take less than that. You're picking up at DXC3, which is in Anaheim, and taking that to San Bernardino for $186. That's all Amazon sites, so that should go pretty quick. Looks like you're picking up an empty trailer. Yeah, assuming they have empty trailers at that first site, it's just picking up an empty and bringing it over to San Bernardino. Not going to take 2 hours and 8 minutes. It's going to take as long as that drive takes, and then you're done. Here's a 5-stop trip. I wouldn't book this just because of the amount of sites, and this other one's a third-party site. I mean, you figure this is 4 hours and 23 minutes with a third-party site in there at $262. I'm willing to bet it goes up. Whenever I see that third-party site in here, like SWA, US, Giant Tex, absolutely not. That's going to take way longer than they're saying. Let's say big trips are your thing outside of Paris. Let's see what big trips are looking like. Distance longest. So here is one pick, one stop, which I like. 2,802 miles, but you're making $3,875, but you're making that at $1.38 a mile. Santa Fe Springs to Jessup, Pennsylvania, $1.37 a mile. Bloomington to Rialto, where do they have you going in between? Geg 1. Geg 1 is in Spokane, Washington. So yeah, this is starting in like the San Bernardino, Ontario, going up to Spokane, and then bringing the trailer back. You're making that at $1.46 a mile. So you can see the OTR stuff just doesn't really pay that well, or yeah, I mean, just doesn't really pay that well. So these are big trips. I mean, is there any decent big trips? The closest we can get to like $2 a mile. Where does that threshold hit? $1.75, $1.34. I mean, there's a lot of these that are sub $1.50 a mile. $1.62. Yeah, I mean, the first page of these is all, oh, here's one. $2.70 a mile to go to Santa Fe Springs to Portland. You are picking up a loaded trailer. Typical Amazon loaded trailer is going to be about 10,000 pounds. And taking that from Santa Fe Springs up to Portland, Oregon. They don't say if this is a team driver or not. Let me look at the little picture here. Yeah, they just got the little icon of the one person there, so that just means it's a solo driver, so probably going to take about 2 days. And yeah, $2.70 a mile to head up to Portland. Let's pick next time's winner. Again, you want your name to be on here, so we did Paris. Let's delete this cell. Russ Sims is taken care of. Now I have 1 through 6. Let's go to a random number generator. Random number generator. I need a number between 1 and 6. Generate number 4 again. It was 4 last time. It's 4 this time. Who just got moved up to number 4? 4 is Bryant ℙ𝕖𝕣𝕣𝕤. Looking for Inland Empire, Victorville area. So actually we're going to cross 2 names off the list because Donald2866 requested the same thing. So next time we're going to look at the Inland Empire and Victorville area. What am I doing today? I'm out here messing around. Obviously not trucking, just watching people try to fly.